Hello, and welcome to another episode of In My Experience with yours truly, Christine DeGinto. This podcast is a space where I speak from lived experience. The moments that shaped me, challenged me, and changed the way that I understand myself in the world. The awakenings, the breakdowns, the moments that cracked me open, asked me to stay present, be embodied, and be honest with myself. I share my stories not to persuade or define truth for anyone else, but to offer perspective, to explore the gray areas we don't often have language for, to slow things down and listen more closely to what's happening beneath the surface. You'll hear solo episodes where I reflect on my own initiations, spiritual gifts, and the systems that tried to define me. And conversations with guests who have walked strange, beautiful, and sometimes painful paths of their own and come back with wisdom to share with us. I invite you to take what resonates, leave the rest, and trust your own experience as valid. Thank you for being here. This is In My Experience. Welcome back to In My Experience. I'm Christine DeGinto. Today, I'm talking with someone who has had a huge impact on my spiritual path, Amy Belair. Amy is a spiritual mentor and Akashic teacher, and she's played a huge role in helping me trust my intuition and developing the gifts that I already had. Through her courses, programs, and spaces that she creates for people to practice and explore, she has really helped me in honing my own abilities, understanding my experiences in a way that felt grounded and empowering. Her work is a big part of why I started exploring the Akashic records and taking my own psychic experiences seriously. In this episode, we talk a lot about what's been moving lately, from the intense energies surrounding the recent total lunar eclipse and the deeper process of reorganizing life from the inside out. We get into healing, grief, consciousness, psychic gifts, homeschooling, and the bigger collective challenges that many people are feeling right now with many levels of disclosure coming through. We also talk about clairvoyance, telepathy, inner knowing, and the reality that so many of us are having experiences that we have never really given language for. Amy has been someone who helps people make sense of those experiences and trust themselves more deeply, and I am really grateful for the role that she has played in my own journey. In honor of Amy's guest appearance in this episode and a recent download that I received, I decided to block schedule Akashic Records readings at a 40% discount with a code that can be found in the show notes for listeners only. I was cleaning my bathroom, scrubbing away, and all of a sudden I saw it very clearly that I should pick some certain times of day, days of the week, and dedicate certain hours, like a block for myself to get into that mode and just optimize my time. So if you're interested, if you've been considering an Akashic Records reading, if you've been considering working with me, now's your chance. So check out the show notes for the link on how to book that. This is such a rich and meaningful conversation, and I'm excited to share it with you.
Oh. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Oh, I like your setup. All your plants look so bright in there. Yeah.
It used to be covered with my husband's junk, and then one day I was like, no.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah. This past weekend, I started organizing a lot. Like I've had this office area, which you can't see because I have like, I'm in the corner here, but like my desk is over there. And then I have like a little hutch and it has shelves. I have this bookshelf and so much clutter, mail, bills, things that I don't give a fuck about, paper. And I'm like, what? Why? I just like threw it all away. I just threw it all away. I was like, I filed some things, I got organized, but this weekend I was really feeling the energy to just like get shit together finally. And I really feel it like it's still ramping up. Are you feeling
Yeah.
that
Oh,
similarly?
yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like this is totally like the energy of this eclipse is like
Yeah.
get your shit in order and get rid of everything that is sort of like all the like Virgoan details that are dragging you down. Just get it
Mm-hmm.
organized, get it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I totally agree. I thank you so much for taking your time to be here with me today. And I also want to like, introduce you, but let's chat for a minute too. Or we could include this. It's up to you. We could just like start or chat a little bit and then start. What do you want to do? Do you want to talk
I,
about like what we want to talk about or just let it flow?
I
Anything
mean,
on your mind?
we can let it flow. Do you have any, is there anything that you've come that you want to talk about?
Yeah, just really intense energies lately. A
Hmm.
lot of stuff getting like, oh, and I also wanted to talk with you about the 20 and back program stuff, which you're one of the only people to have ever described the bilocation of my consciousness that way. And when you were telling me 4 years ago about that, I first of all didn't know what you were talking about at all. Second of all, I didn't even really realize that I was bilocated. And then in the past, I went on a retreat in the beginning of November with Chris King, and he recommended that I work with someone who has a lot of personal experience in the goodness. Sorry, I started choking in the secret space program. So I've been working in like a container with him, and I paid for like, I don't know, 9 sessions, and I schedule them when I need to, and he helps me like access these memories that, yeah, it's been wild. But anyway, I just wanted to say, like, thank you so much for articulating it the way you did, putting me in the right direction. And it took me like, I didn't start looking into that stuff right away because I had so many other things in my like 3D life that I couldn't even like I just was not I had to just focus on my everyday what was coming at me, let alone like another version of me. I just couldn't even get to that. But now I've started to unravel it and it's been very interesting. Yeah.
I'm glad that it was like, I'm glad that it is relevant now. It's like saying things like that to somebody in a reading is so strange because it's like very ungrounded, very unusual, and it's always a feeling of like, is this helpful to the person for me to say
Mm-hmm.
this? But I kind of just like trust when something feels like it just wants to like out of my mouth. Like I just have
Yeah.
to say it anyway. But I'm glad thank you. It soothes a
Yes.
little bit of my self-doubt to be like, okay, this is a supportive thing to, to help understand the way that your consciousness works. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And I know that that's not something that you normally say to people because you did reiterate
definitely
that
not.
to me. Like, you're like, this, I want to be very careful with this. But I think that you're in the 20 back program and you were right. So, and I'm still unraveling that. I don't even know what my complete involvement is. And to be completely honest, I don't what I'm working more toward is disconnecting from that like version because
Yeah.
apparently like it was like my consciousness was abducted and copied and then now functioning with my like resources essentially. It's a copy. And it's so funny. I started watching this movie and I have not finished it yet, but Mickey 17, have you heard of that at all?
No.
It's what's his name? Who was the vampire in the movies with the vampire movies? Edward.
I know who you mean.
Yeah.
His name was
He's
Edwin.
okay. I don't what's his real name? The actor.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I can't. I know who you
You
mean
know who I'm
because
talking about.
is it
Yeah.
Jonathan Edwards? No. What's his
No.
name? Because he was also Cedric Diggory in the
Yes.
Harry Potter movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just can't
Oh,
remember his
gosh, I
name.
can't think of it. Anyway, you all know who we're talking about. He's in it. And essentially like Earth is mid and people are starting to leave to go on this colony with a failed political person who's obviously like a cult leader and they travel into space and he signs up to be an expendable which means that they make copies of him every 24 hours and his consciousness gets re-uploaded and he has to sit every week and get it downloaded again so he doesn't have any big gaps. It's like, and then I'm watching this and they send him on the worst missions. They send him out first to like breathe the air and see if he got sick. And he did. He got very sick. And then they repeatedly exposed him to it so they could work out a vaccine for everyone else on the ship to then be able to. And it's just like, it's crazy. And it's just like illuminating so many different things. And I'm like, wow, I don't, there's a reason I didn't finish it. Like I was like, I can't, I'm good on this for now because this is hitting too hard.
Yes, right.
Yeah, it's just, it's crazy. And just so many other ways of reorganizing life, not just physically, not just mail and bills and or rooms and things, but like taking action on things that have been dormant and waiting. And it's almost like they come up in your face to be seen. And it's like, obviously, I have to follow this thread. And it's been so exciting, but so many changes over here. I started homeschooling my daughter, which I wanted to do for a long time. And then finally I just like pulled the trigger. So that's good. She's actually still sleeping. And what I was thinking about earlier this morning is like, first of all, she's growing. She's a manifester. There was just an eclipse full moon. Like she needs to be sleeping, and I would feel sad on the days where I would have to like force her to get up and go,
Totally.
but she in the morning, sometimes, not every morning, but sometimes she'll tell me about dreams she's had and they are fascinating to hear about. And I encourage her to like write them down and, kind of keep track of them myself. And I would like to focus on that more, like kind of make that like part of the first thing we do every day is like, how was your dreamscape, and actively like work to set her up before bed so that she can have like safe travels and
That's amazing. That's so amazing. Yeah, totally. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what, like, I mean, to an extent, having an understanding of geography matters and geology and like climate and weather patterns. Like, yes, to an extent, all of that matters. And I'm not saying to the exclusion of all these things, but like, let's just curate for ourselves what we feel intuitively is important as beings who exist in this realm, in this environment, as opposed to like following sort of the like prescribed protocol of education and like what we're supposed to pay attention to.
And you got to wonder why we're supposed to be paying attention to that and focused on that. And, I also came to a realization recently, still healing from separation, divorce, kind of like an abusive relationship, which it's interesting because he called me the other day and was like, "Are you talking online about abuse?" And I was like, "What?" And I was like, I guess things just kind of come out as I'm talking about them. But like, I mean, if it quacks like a duck and it walks like a duck, like, I mean, I'm not saying you abused me. I'm just saying I experienced abuse and this is my
I'm
journey.
processing
like,
abuse. Yeah.
And
I'm entitled to do so.
Yeah. Like I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me, but I understand he wants his privacy and all that, which is all good. And I understand why that would be, but, just like accepting and seeing things from a different lens, like realizing that things were done intentionally to hurt me and getting to the point where in the past I would think about these examples and I would get very, very sad and confused. And I would be like, but why? Like, and it's a sort of like the naive state of like a soul that is just like cannot understand why someone would do things like that. Like, because, that part of processing naivety, but it's also like purity, like the fact that I couldn't even conceptualize doing that. And I didn't even realize that could be like something. It's because I'm not a bad person, you know what I mean? But you're not a bad person if you can understand it either. Like the difference between psychology and the spiritual understanding is like another thing I'm kind of grasping differently, but I'm no longer sad or confused. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's what it was. And I'm really actually able to detach from things now, and that come up in retrospect, and they're coming up, I'm sure, for a reason. But it's like, oh, it's much easier to let go, is what I mean, because it no longer has the charge of like
Mm-hmm.
sadness, confusion, like there's not like grief or regret or anything tied to it. So it's just like letting it go, actually. So it feels good. But
That's amazing.
yeah. How about you? What's new in your world? What's going on lately?
Well, I mean, okay, so on one hand, you know, in all the ways that really matter, I just feel so grateful for this season of life. Like I have such a deep gratitude for the version of me who like said yes at every point along the way to this business, because now like I'm doing this. And this is such a weird season for me because my father died unexpectedly in July, and I also had a miscarriage at the exact same time, and it was just so much to deal with.
Yeah.
And then I got, hit with a really huge tax bill, and the business, I had bought a second business, a boutique. It was sort of like my, in hindsight, I'm like, you were hoping to escape your destiny as a highly impactful person. Like the part of you that was scared of your soul mission wanted to just find a way to be a muggle. And your higher self is like, no, you shall henceforth and forever and evermore make money doing anything other than your soul mission. So I just was carrying a lot of stress and a lot of weight. And similar to the situation that you went through for years, it's like long-standing, ongoing sort of circumstances that don't resolve overnight. And it's just the requirement of deep patience and surrender and like recalibrating and like, this is the plan and this is what I'm doing. And to find gratitude in the tiny incremental successes along the way. But it's been so as I say that, I'm like really grateful to the version of me that said yes at every point leading up to this past year, especially the version of me that said yes to leaving the job and the career that I previously had that was no longer aligned for me, and having no idea if this was going to work or not. And I just did it and went for it anyway, and then stayed with it every time I wanted to quit and felt discouraged. I'm so grateful because now, even though I'm in a really challenging season and it's not the most financially fruitful season, and I owe so much in taxes that like I don't keep anything that comes in, is all of it is allocated to just like life expenses and then debt repayment. But I'm like, but I get to do this work and I would be doing it for free anyway. Like, this is how much I love it. And I'm so glad that I chose it when I could.
Yeah.
So that now that I'm going through this difficult season, at least I don't hate my job. You know what I mean? I'm so grateful for that. So it's still a really hard season, really hard. And I'm in Canada, so the CRA, which is like the the Canadian analog to the IRS.
Okay. Yes.
Do you know what I mean? The tax
yes.
people.
Yes.
They're not playing nice. They're not being nice to me at all. So there's a lot of stress on my shoulders, but it's almost like, sometimes when you get backed into a corner, there's nothing left to lean into but love.
Yeah.
And it just like rearranges all of your priorities. And so I'm actually really grateful for this season. It's not comfortable and it's not fun and it does not relent. Like, it's very difficult to be in this right now, but I'm also like
able to
all
see
I
that.
want is God. And all I want is like, it makes the 5D so clear to me. And it makes it so clear to me, my point of power in every moment. And the point of power is like, am I turning towards despair and stress and anxiety and the programs of the false matrix that have us feeling trapped? Or do I turn towards like God, whatever that means? To me, it's just a term that I'm comfortable using to describe the totality and benevolence and just like my freedom is also here. I can choose it in any moment, regardless of my circumstances. And it's also,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to like have that be so heavily tested and to be like, oh yeah, like I fucking learned some shit. Like
The
I can do
resolve.
this. Yeah.
Yes. And then every
Mhm.
time in the future it happens, it's like a mountain. Like you like
Yeah.
look down at everything that you've scaled and you're just like, yeah, fuck, I got that shit. And you just keep climbing. Like it's so great. And I'm so happy to hear that. And you're reminding me now of everything everywhere all at once. Like when she's dealing with the tax situation and
Yes.
she has to show love to her or something. Like
Yes.
she's coming at her, about to like beat the shit out of her, and she's like the next jump pad is like you have to profess your love to her. So like
Really?
literally where you were at right now, and I
Oh
love it
my
so
gosh.
much.
Actually, Christine, so we just had the lunar eclipse, the blood moon
Yeah.
lunar eclipse in Virgo yesterday, and the eclipse showed up for me as the CRA seizing my business bank accounts and stealing all the money from them. And so that was like,
What?
that's all I could deal with yesterday was just like,
Oh my god.
and they won't give it back. Like they're just, and I'm like, guys, how am I supposed to pay you if I can't receive income? Like if I can't actually conduct a business, but they don't care. So that was what was happening. And I was like, I know that the solution is not any external action right now. The solution, the next jump pad, is to find the thing inside of myself that needs to be healed and like unlocked, and the power that needs to be reclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
Not from an oppositional, like it would be so easy to just like hate my collections agent and blame the government, which I'm not a fan of the government, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not the place to hang out. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not
Yeah.
the point of power. It's almost like, whoa, the labyrinth is all inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it's this process of like winding through the difficult things that still have to get resolved in order for me to completely shift into the 5D, which sounds, I mean, all I do is talk about the 5D. So I'm becoming aware of like how spiritually bypassy and ridiculous it can sound to people sometimes. But I'm like, I can feel it. I see it. I feel it. I know it.
Yeah.
I know how we function. And
Yep.
I can feel like these are the things that are holding me back. And I could blame the false matrix right now, or I could understand that I have to figure this puzzle out in order to resolve it so I can move beyond it, not just like, oh, so I can have money again or whatever. Like, yes, whatever.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really matter. That's not what matters. What matters is the freedom of my own consciousness and what I can create as I am willing to pay the price to reclaim that freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And there are strategies like regarding taxes. There are very creative ways. There are loopholes. All you have to do is know the law. Well, that's not your job and that's annoying. So, but like, do you have a really good like tax person to help you not just resolve what's existing, but to prepare going forward? Like, for just saying, this is years and years ago. I feel like it's almost 10 years ago at this point. Yeah, over 10 years. Because I'm looking at my boss's picture. I have a picture of him. Keep it on my desk. That's how I venerate people, that really matter to me. And I connect with him often. And he taught me so much. He was a CPA, which is a certified public
Yeah.
accountant. And so interesting. When I first started working with him, I was an administrative assistant, and a representative from the IRS came in, and he was no longer doing the tax portion of the business. He'd given that to his son. He also had a payroll company. He gave that to his other son. And then he started an investment business, a registered investment advisor, where he was a fiduciary, and he made like tax advice and business and insurance and investments. And I assisted him. But I had just started working there. An IRS person comes in and he says, I need these files, blah, 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 blah. So I go to Ron and I say, this IRS agent is here and he says, we have to do this. He's like, oh no, tell him that I don't have time today. He can come back another time, a scheduled appointment. And I was just like, okay, I guess. Because I was also very young. I was, I think, 19 when I started there. And so for me, I was like, oh my God, you're a badass. You're just being like, I don't have time for that today. And I'm like, but that's really actually how it is. It's really just an attitude.
Yeah.
And that's true of any interaction with anyone. No one is above you. People will come in and try to bully you, try to put you down, try to make them be on over you and give you orders. And it's when you realize how weak they actually are because they're doing that, that's when you can, and we've talked about this before, like shift your light to just reflect a different perspective from them. Like
Yeah.
it's like when you figure that out in your mind, instead of being like this motherfucker and like being negative, shift down in your heart. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying this like, to other people listening, because you obviously already know how to do this. But for me, it's like automatic. I shift down into my heart. I'm just like, oh, poor thing. They must really have had a difficult time at some point where somebody either did this to them or they didn't have any control in their life. And this is how they, get their jollies and there's more to them than this, and it's funny, it's just funny, it's interesting to do. I always I don't know, I actually don't know how I have the time to like do all of that. It happens like really fast. Like, like all
Yeah.
the thinking about all the different things and dynamics that like aren't actually present in the current moment, like it's not pertinent to what's happening. Someone could be
Yeah.
giving you like verbal instructions and you're just over here thinking about like, I wonder what happened to them when they were like 12. And, like you're like getting all this
Yeah.
information and it's like, oh, but without like prying, I don't mean it that way.
Yeah, no, but it's like I think that's part of what is part of this consciousness expansion process that we're all experiencing. We're just receiving it and playing with it to different degrees, according to our own journey. But I think like whereas for a long time we related to each other at that like surface immediate level of like the verbal instructions they're giving, where we are now accessing like deeper and deeper, you could say multidimensional layers, but just meaning like they're different layers of the person that you're interacting with and the situation and the scenario. And it's almost like it kind of reminds me of those, in like whatever sci-fi movies or shows where they have those glasses, those smart glasses that have like a little invisible screen that they can only see to
Uh,
their eye that's like analyzing the whole situation and giving them additional feedback. It's kind of like that, but it's through your own heart and through your own consciousness. And I really think that's what this stage of the game is about, is basically it's like being a lucid dreamer within the dream and
mhm,
calling the bluff of the situation. But I don't mean that, like, for example, I have every intention of paying the money
mhm,
that I owe in my taxes. So I'm not
mhm.
saying that like, oh, the consequences be damned, but the paying of it is part of my own healing. I can feel that, and so it's like calling the bluff of the surface level perception of the urgency and the emergency and the scarcity or whatever wounds are happening. So for me, obviously, those are the particular wounds that are being activated. But like, let's say if it's in a relationship dynamic, it's like calling the bluff of that programmed like fear response of like the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of being judged, the fear of being betrayed, or like whatever things are coming up for any of us in any given scenario. We're just being given this opportunity to call the bluff and like live out our own personal version of that final scene in the original Matrix movie when he just understands that it's all code. Like it's code, the agents are code, he's code. It's all the
Mhm.
same. It's all the same field of information. And then it no longer like has the same power over us that it
Yes.
once did.
Yes. I've been finding more lately than ever before. Because it has happened before, but it's sort of more like when I'm getting downloads. But now it's like constant. It's an additional awareness. Like, it's like I'm experiencing my own thoughts, but I'm also observing them from above. And then
Mm.
I guess even from above that, because if I can see this higher, I guess I'm even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, so then I like sort of like break myself down like a Russian doll, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then I just like clear it all away. Sounds easy. Sounds easy. But the more you do it, the easier it is. You know, it's not hard to do, to stop yourself. Like you're saying, like you can stop yourself and see in the moment, like the higher perspective, like, oh, this isn't actually something I need to worry about. This isn't actually the end of the world. Like I'm definitely going to get through this. And I also wanted to say, I'm so happy. And I'm so proud of the version of you and you that has always said yes to your business, because you have been such a wonderful resource and a very encouraging mentor. Amy is the reason that I started in the Akashic records in the first place. Her courses, I've taken like, I don't know,
A good handful.
like 12 maybe. And been part of different programs that were like long term, because I just love being in your energy, the things that we talk about, like uh, the way that you express and articulate the energies that are coming through. It's just such valuable information. I really appreciate it. Not only do I appreciate you, but I also appreciate everyone that I've been able to connect with because of you and your programs. So, yeah, like you said, the universe is like forcing you, because it's like, this is really important. Because if that's me, think about all of the other long-term people that participate in programs with you, compounded, right? So it's like the groups that they meet and connect with, and there are people in common that will probably in the future connect those people that weren't connected before, and it's still all part of your it comes from your message and encouragement for us to be sovereign in ourselves and trust our intuition and to slow down and hone in our clairs. And I just appreciate you so much, and I'm so thankful.
Oh my gosh, Christine, that makes me so happy. You have no idea, especially that little piece of like the people that you've met through joining the group programs. Why I always am so obsessed with doing live group programs,
Yeah.
because it just I can't, that is beyond me. That's outside of me. I just know that I just attract cool people.
Yeah,
And
you sure
that's
do.
all I need to do is just attract cool people and create spaces for them to connect with each other, and
Yeah.
magic will occur. And it has nothing to do with me beyond that. But the power, the ripple effect, like you said, like the people who meet that and talk about this to the people, and it doesn't even matter if it ever comes back to me or if I ever know. It doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that this beautiful ripple of freedom and possibility and just like permission and encouragement to pursue what our soul is calling us towards in a world that actively discourages that.
Yes. Yes. It is so needed for, and I really, and I could be a little bit biased, and it could just be like my algorithm, what I'm looking at. But it seems like many of the people that I associate with are like really ready to unplug from the system and be like, yeah, you know what? It's getting to the point where like I think I might have to be out. I'm I don't know. It would be awesome if I could like move to another country. I'm not saying that I don't like America. I like the world. I like Earth, and I like humans and animals and plants. It's not about countries. It's about all of it. But yeah, it's getting wild.
Yeah. What are you seeing? I would love to hear. I just had a conversation with Chris King the other day about some of the things he's seeing and hearing. And on that day, it was like just one day of his life, but he's been seeing and hearing a lot. Like there's a lot of turmoil in his immediate sphere, and a lot of it sounds like. I mean, similar situations to what I'm going through, just different versions, but just like, obviously they're really grinding us in the economy right now.
Mm-hmm.
All to
Mm-hmm.
set up the flip over into the digital currency. But so like there's a lot of that's activated, and then like a lot of emotional distress at the release of I don't know. Did these things get censored anymore? I don't think so. Everybody's talking about it. The
Oh, I
Epstein
don't give a shit.
files.
I talk
Okay.
about whatever. You know me.
The release of the Epstein files and then like the geopolitical, like stuff that's going on. So from
Yeah.
from what he shared in his corner, it's people are in a really activated state of just being like, oh my God, this is so stressful. This is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
What are you observing?
I feel like a lot of the disclosure regarding things of this nature were revealed to me 4 years ago in that timeline jump. And also personally, because of the karmic ties that I have with specific people that I believe are associated with groups that do those types of things as well. So I've had to conceptualize this for a little bit longer. I know there are people who are like, conspiracy theorists like we've been talking about this for years and now you always called us crazy. Now I didn't try to talk about this with people like strangers, but it was very clear to me that like that is one of the main ways that the false matrix is powered, um besides like the general public, which is actually like the biggest portion. But then
Mhm.
like they do this to direct those types of energies and to manipulate the fields and just wreak havoc as chaos does. But um i'm feeling I'm feeling glad that I conceptualized it earlier, and I can understand how destabilizing it is. And like, I feel like there could be like soul loss level of upset in people, when people get very, very stressed out or traumatized. Like this, it's traumatizing. So, like, that's another reason that they're disclosing it. And they haven't disclosed all of it and they never will. But like, that is the reason that they're dumping all this stuff on us, is for us to like fracture. So it's
Totally.
really, really important to like shift how we're visualizing those things. Like instead of, I mean, somebody's got to read through them and report on them so the general public can hear the atrocities. We need to hear the atrocities so that we can accept that that is in our reality. And then, because that's the only way to change it. First, we have to like see it, accept it, then be like, no, that's not happening. What are we going to do to change it? I don't know. I would love for people to die, but that's me. I don't know. That's not really, I can't say. It's not up to me. I'm just me. But personally, I would kill people. Anyway, maybe I'll edit that. Maybe someone will use it against me. I don't actually care. It's so funny. Earlier, uh, before we started recording, I actually Googled myself because I was on Instagram and I saw like an ad for, I don't know, delete me or something. And it's like, control your information. Don't let people, be able to search all your contact information and blah, blah. And it's like, when's the last time you Googled yourself? And I was like, that's a good question. So I did it to see like what came up. And the first thing that came up was the GoFundMe that I made, which I no longer need. So I was like, okay. So I deactivated that. And then I was going down and there was something and it was like, get all of her information and social reputation. I was like, the fuck? And I clicked into it and it was like low. And I started laughing because it's like, they might have reports like credit and criminal records and stuff. And then it's like social media and like sexual stuff. And I'm like, wait, what? And then so I didn't pay for the report or anything. And yeah, they probably make everyone seem a little bit bad because then it's like, ooh, I want to know what's on their record and I want to buy it. Sorry. But it's just funny to me because in what framework is this being measured? And actually,
Totally.
to
And by
what
whom?
level? Yeah, right. And to what level do I actually give a fuck? Because I have a criminal record for going against legal, I don't even know what to call them, actions, legal coercive control. I was fighting against coercive control that was used, by the legal system from someone specifically. So like, I don't care if I have a record for that, because in hindsight, and when I consider myself like as a soul and I look back and it's like, what would I want to do? Would I conform and be a good girl and follow the law? Or would I be like, no, this is wrong. I don't agree. And I don't care what the consequences are. Probably the latter. So it's like, that's, and my credit score gone. Does it even matter? No. These are the things, like, it's just so freeing to get to this place where it's like Terrence McKenna was saying, it's going to get so weird that people are going to have to actually talk about how weird it is. And things are going to break down, and it's going to be like something that we have never experienced. And that's what happens when we depart for the stars, and I don't know. I feel like it's very important for us to be in our hearts and to, instead of envisioning all of the horrible things that are happening, envision like saving the kids. I was talking about this with someone that I just recently recorded with, but instead of visualizing the bad things, visualize putting a field of energy protection around any kid that is still in a system like that, right? Where if somebody comes into the radius of 10 feet, they're going to fucking spontaneously combust. Like, you can do that with your energy. That's kind of the things that I like to do too. When I hear about horrible things, I also like to shift it. It's actually like one of my favorite things to do, because it's like, no, we can't we can't let this be. So
because it's a double loosh harvest otherwise, right? Like they're harvesting off of, it's the same with like the geopolitical turmoil and like the war and the suffering of civilians. Like any of these things, it's a double sort of like feed for the false matrix if we don't understand it. And so they feed off of obviously the suffering created by those who are directly affected, and they feed off of the absolute like mayhem, like freaking out levels of turmoil that are felt by all of us who are witnessing it through usually social media and feeling helpless to do anything about it. And it's like, I'm not interested in giving the false matrix any of my energy anymore. Does that mean I'm perfect and I, am clued into it all the time? No, but I'm becoming increasingly aware of the feeling that comes with it's sometimes hidden under a little gross feeling, self-indulgent dopamine hit. So it has a little moment of feeling kind of good, but underneath it, it's like, it just takes you farther away from that which is beautiful and pure. And so I do the same thing, Christine. There's this like Dr. Phil episode that I saw probably like 20 years ago, so long ago, that still haunts me. And it was a mom who, for whatever reason, she would rage at her children. And in particular, it just makes me want to cry just talking about it. She would take it out on her oldest son, and they had like video footage of the way that she would treat him. Like they put cameras in, I don't know, unbeknownst to her. I don't even know. Was it real? I don't have any idea, but like it got in my psyche. And the way that she would treat him, like, rips my heart out of my chest. I just can't fathom treating your child that way. And I also know that to be a human is very complicated. But when I feel this level of turmoil and I'm like, I don't even remember his name. He's probably like 30 something years old now. Like I can't do anything about it. But what I can do is imagine him as a little boy and just bring him for a snuggle. And I do that when I feel like sometimes it'll just come into my brain and reactivate that, like, which is connected to a past life trauma for me, reactivate that center of like, oh my God, somebody was treating their child like that. And then it's connected to the knowing that many children are treated like that. Never mind all the, terrible ritual abuse of children.
Yeah.
But like, it's connected to all of that. And then I just imagine him and I just like hold him and tell him how perfect he is and how much I love him. And I can feel then that shifts my energy back into the organic grid that we want to feed. Like, so staying in this like super activated state of either despair, hopelessness, demoralization, or, I mean, rage is really sacred. I think rage is
Mhm.
sacred and it's appropriate to
Mhm.
feel
Yeah.
rage, as we learn in great detail about all of these things. But just making sure that the rage, the fire of rage, is not consuming us. That
Mhm.
if we are going to burn, that it's going to be a fucking phoenix situation where like
Yeah.
we rise from the ashes of that rage that we feel in the moment, and that the false matrix just doesn't get our energy. Um, and that's sometimes all we can do, but it's also not, that is not a negligible choice. It is very, very, it has a huge ripple effect into the field when we choose to be in our hearts and we choose to be in a state of love. And I also, 2020 was my big year for learn, like I didn't, all the all the conspiracy theorists who are in 2020 were like, we've been talking about this for years. And 2020 was my year to learn what they had been talking about, and all the, Pizzagate stuff and Epstein and all that. So I went through my period of like shock and horror and all the things, and I don't think there's any way to like speed through that.
Mhm.
But for all of us who have encountered it by whatever exposure we have before, I don't think it's really helpful to be like, we've been talking about this for years and we're right.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
like,
not helpful.
that's
It's
not
that's yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
it, okay? It's
Yeah.
just like, love the people who are learning about it now. It's a
Yeah.
fucking lot to learn about. It's a
Yeah.
lot to hold. So
Because
let's
how
just
did
love
you
each
feel
other.
when you learned it? It's horrible. It's that
And there
heavy
was a,
energy in your gut. It's the I would like sweat. My heart would pound. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's stress. That's trauma. And so like think about that. Like when you learn horrible things and then why would you laugh about it and be like, "Oh, you just found that out. I knew about that." Like in a cocky way instead of being like,
right?
"I'm so sorry." Like I'm glad that you are here with us and
Like it's a
it,
contest.
yeah. Like
Like you get a prize for having learned earlier on the
right.
timeline.
Right.
Totally. And there was a point where, unless we directly experienced it or know, like unless we were exposed like in a direct way, there's a point where we all didn't know about it.
Mhm.
And so it's like, what, there's nothing to judge in each other. Like all the people who are newly awakening right now, I just feel like, welcome.
Yeah.
May the field that I've spent the last, 6.5 years creating feel like a soft place to land, and you're not
Yeah.
alone. And,
For
let's just
me
all
it
do
did.
that.
It
It's,
did 4 years ago. Yeah. I mean, I found your stuff. I don't even know. I think it was the podcast first. And I felt like after finding out, I wanted to talk about it. I was like, finding out this information about reality. I'm like, what the heck is anything? Like, I really wanted to talk about it. Nobody could understand really what I was saying. It wasn't like I didn't have safe spaces to talk about it, and it made me really feel crazy. And then, connecting with your information, even just listening to not even talking to you, just listening, and then it's like, oh, okay, I know I'm not alone. Like, and then just expanding more and more. It's just so helpful. So yes, that will happen with your
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And well, and with all of us, hopefully, right? That we would
Yeah.
all just be like, welcome, whether it's just, everybody doesn't have to create a podcast, just have kind interactions on the internet with people.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
that's enough. That's enough these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, it's so funny. Now I take it back. I wouldn't kill people because I've actually, like I said earlier, I've been in a situation where I had to reflect on it in a personal way, where I had to consider potentially harm to that level coming to a child. And I was not violent,
I know
actually.
you wouldn't kill
And
anyone.
it took quite a bit of energy to
Yeah.
be calm. But yeah, I wouldn't kill anyone because I know
Oh,
that would just hurt my karma, and I know that they'll be taken care of. I have no fear.
and you've always been so, like, something I've always admired so much about you, like from the very first reading we ever had, was just that no matter how stressful and difficult your situation was, and it was for a long time, you kept coming back to this desire to lift everybody involved up to a higher, like, echelon of consciousness through the heart. And so I know when you say like, I would kill, what you're saying is like, that is such a firm boundary within
Yeah.
me of, it's that sacred rage of like, children shall not be harmed
Hmm.
in these ways in particular, but at all. And it's not tolerable. So all you're saying is, I don't tolerate this.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you for verbalizing it that way. But I did want to clarify, I wouldn't do that because I don't wish harm and it doesn't bring me joy to like hurt people. And I don't even like to think that way actually, because again, it's really important to be aware of our thoughts. Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't even think that way. And it's funny. Last night when I was falling asleep, I started thinking about how when I first had my like spiritual awakening, I became very quiet. So like I was saying, I wanted to speak, but I like felt like I didn't have the words. Like it was like so much was in my mind. Like I almost couldn't even talk a lot of the time. And then I realized how peaceful it was to just be quiet. And then I started to notice my environment around me so much more. Um, but along the same lines, when I would speak, there are times like I was kind of reminiscing about an experience with my twin flame that I call him my twin flame. But there were several times where I was not able to express myself with words clearly. And I sort of like had some sadness like around that. And then I was also trying to shift it at the same time. Like you couldn't help it. Like you were overwhelmed. Like you just didn't have the language. You didn't have the knowledge that you have now to even be thinking about it. So like, don't do that to yourself, but it still happened for a brief moment. And just thinking about how we speak and the barrier of language, if we consider like, oh, I don't speak that language, and we automatically are just like, oh, I can't even talk to that person. But that's not true because we're all telepathic. We all have the ability to sense other people's energy, and you can just read someone's face. You can you can just know. Like you don't have to know their name to offer them water. You know, you don't
Mhm.
it's so interesting. It's funny the ways that language is a barrier in my mind that I was thinking about that last night. Um but yeah, that's random.
No, I love that because actually we're in a Mercury retrograde in Pisces right now. And I feel like that's the gift of this Mercury retrograde in particular is, especially because it's opposite the moon in Virgo. But it's like an opportunity to shift away from communicating through language and trying to understand things in a more logical manner and shift into the communication that happens in the silences and the spaces between the words and the things that are unsaid, either because maybe we have too much fear to say them, or maybe they just don't fit into words. Like there are no words for them, but there's so much beyond
Hmm.
what can be encapsulated in language. And there's so much here. And I feel like this is such a beautiful Mercury retrograde to soften into those telepathic sort of corridors that exist between us. Just like you said, like, totally, you don't need to speak the same language as somebody to see, like, if they are thirsty, to offer them water. Like, there are depths of understanding that we have that even go, I mean, they obviously include body language, but they go, it's more than that. It's like energetic, it's vibrational. It's like we're able to read and understand each other at far deeper levels than
Yeah.
language typically allows. When we're
Yes.
hyper focused on language, like we don't have to get rid of language completely either, but when we're hyper focused on it,
Yeah.
we miss a lot.
Yes. Yes. It's interesting. That's definitely true. Like, for example, I don't speak Spanish, but I was in landscaping, commercial landscaping for a number of years. And when I worked at another company, there were a lot of Spanish speaking employees and they would talk. I could always like understand what they were saying for whatever reason. Like in context, it made sense, but I could never speak Spanish.
Mhm.
Like I didn't even know the words for it, but because I knew like they would be pointing or this or that and like and so like it just made sense. Um but when I would try to like understand the words for the words, I would be like, wait, what? What? And then they would make fun of me. But if I just paid attention to like what was happening in the surroundings, it's like what piece of equipment is here? You know, how are they moving? Who's getting out to do what? Like what's happening? You know, what do I need to do? Like that's sort of the way I was thinking instead of like, what did they say? What did they say? Like it's just do it. But something else, I think something else that I was thinking about regarding the miscommunication, and thank you for validating that astrological transit reasoning about like why that might be happening. That's always, I love astrology, but I do not understand it. It's for whatever reason not clicking in for me, maybe in the future. But it's like a science, you know, like you really would have to study it. And I just like don't have the capacity. I appreciate people who know things. And then I have like an app uh, that I look at. It gives me notifications. It says when things are going on. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's helpful. But yeah, it's so true. I think I would actually like to study that. Maybe next year, maybe like toward the end of this year, I could like start enrolling in things and like actually focusing to study on it because I do want to, but I just like feel like I can't. So I probably won't be able to as long as I feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same way for a long time. I loved astrology when I think I got into it when I was 16, but it was sort of that like a 16-year-old girl level of astrology. Like I was able to get it to a certain depth. So like I memorized the symbols for all the signs and the planets, and I would draw the wheel and like understand the triplicities and the elements and things like that. But I never and I understood the archetypes of the signs, but I just never felt called to go any deeper until literally the end of 2024. And I really did have a moment where I was teaching about soul purpose in the Akashic Soul Code activation. And as I was preparing for that module, I just was like, I just felt called to look at the birth chart. And then all of a sudden I was like, wow, I can see it. I see soul purpose. And
Wow.
it was like, like this huge download of information. And I still had to like anchor that understanding in through a lot of practice. And I, did a whole bunch of like really like either free or really low cost, like looks at people's charts just to reinforce it and anchor it in. But it was wild. I've never really had that experience before where it just like dropped in. And then
That's amazing.
maybe
So
like,
you definitely have like past life knowledge of it that probably just like dropped in once you were able to
yeah,
reach a certain frequency. Like that's amazing.
me. I don't know. I don't know where it, because I never necessarily even like felt, and I still won't call myself an astrologer because I don't really, I don't ever feel called to overanalyze the transits. Like I'd rather just live my life and then be like, oh, like ooh, or like I don't record energy reports about even eclipses leading up to them because I'm like, I'm really not going to know until it hands me my
Until
butt. And then
yeah.
I,
Hmm.
then I can
Hmm.
explain
Yeah.
how, like what is coming through. But I also don't really want to live my life up through my head. Like I just want to
Yeah.
move through life and feel it and then make the connections where they support me. But yeah, and then 6 months later, the human design stuff just dropped in and I was like, what is happening?
That's amazing. And I so appreciate the soul purpose reading that you did for me. I shared that as my first episode because for a couple weeks I was like I recorded a few things and I was mostly talking about myself. And then I just felt like a dingus. And I was like, I cannot fit myself in an episode or two or three or four. And like, then I heard this voice like real clearly, like, you don't have to. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm just going to start like with guests and I'll just like drop in information. People can find out as we go. Like, I don't have to explain myself. So that was really helpful. And you also said that too. So thank you for that suggestion. But yeah, I think when you were talking earlier, I started thinking about something and then it like drifted away. But oh yeah, okay. So when you were talking about being not calling yourself an astrologist, it reminded me of like just like someone who appreciates the weather but wouldn't call themselves a meteorologist because then they're expected to give that forecast. Yeah, exactly. But
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
last night I was laying down in bed and I was thinking about, oh, sorry. I was thinking about how we would be talking today. And something came to me about around the time of my initial like awakening 4 years ago when I became very aware of how connected I was to nature and like calling in the wind or like I'd look up in the sky and see a bird flying and as soon as I looked at it it would change direction and like same with bugs like I could like influence bugs like and I there was it was summertime in 2021 and I was outside. I would sleep on my porch. I had a day bed out on the porch, and I would read books and talk to people and walk outside. And I was just like always outside. And I think I got maybe one bug bite that entire summer. And I would even sleep outside, like I said. But like, I think it had to do with my frequency. Like, it was wild. It was really, really wild. And I would sit out even in the wintertime and I would look at the sky when it was kind of white. You know how in the winter, the sky, when it's not super sunny, just kind of white. And I would see all these speckles. And I was like, what the hell is that? And then I realized that I see it like everywhere. And I remember one episode years ago where you were talking about like you can just look at a wall, you can see all the things moving around, all the energy interacting. And I was like, she can see it too. And I was like, I thought it was just normal. I had been seeing this my entire life and just really disregarded it like as like an eye problem. like, and then I hear people talking about like, oh, you're able to see through different dimensions, the energy. And I think I was talking with Mandy Hayes and she said something along the lines of you described her ability to do that because she is also bilocated and the filter is thinner because of the energy that's connected. And that makes a lot of sense. And then I saw something the other day about birds have a certain protein in their eye that allows them to see the energetic grid lines.
Mhm.
And I was like, I bet you we have that too. And it's just like been like turned off, you know? Or maybe some of us have more than, you know what I mean? It's crazy. I was just thinking about that and I was like, I wonder if that's what it actually is, if it comes down to that kind of protein. And then I saw something the reason I'm talking about this is because so many things came up to bring me to this. But I think last night I was on Instagram and I saw something that Bashar was saying about when people engage with psychedelics, the reason that they're able to see or hallucinate or see things in their environment is because their gamma goes down. Like the gamma is the basically like the filter of why we don't see all of the things that are actually in the space with us and that some people just naturally have the ability to like get into that state and drop the filter and that's basically people who have clairvoyance so there's like different levels of clairvoyance I would say like what I used to always think when people would say they're a medium and they could see spirits, I'm assuming that they're seeing people walk around just like me. Like do, I'm a spirit and I'm in your room with you. But it's not like that for many, many people. Very few people see like full body apparitions, like see them like that. It's like inner vision. But I used to think, oh no, I can't see them because I've never seen a ghost. But then totally discounting everything that's in my inner vision, you know? But
Yeah. That was my journey too. It was exactly that. It was you know, because describing the way, the English language is not, we don't have an agreed upon sort of like lexicon for psychic experiences. So we're having to use words that have a different meaning. So like, for example, I always catch myself saying like, oh, when you see something in the Akashic records, and I'm like, that creates a misunderstanding because you don't always see it. Like some people do. Some people, it's like a see, hear, feel, sense, know, understand, you know?
yeah,
Like it's like
yeah.
it's so hard. There aren't words to adequately communicate what, like how the information is being received. And
Hmm.
so in listening to people talk about, yeah, being a medium or whatever growing up, I likewise thought that it meant you had to see shadow figures or ghosts or angels or, you know, demons or whatever anybody is seeing in order to actually be psychic. And uh it took me a long time to realize that there are so many, that's not, people do see that, but that's not what clairvoyance is limited to. So kind of what you were describing, like how we can look at the wall and see the energy moving, or I don't know if you have this, but I see the rainbow crystalline essence of all matter. I literally see it with my physical eyes all the time, and I always have my whole life. So if I look at my skin, my fingernails, but it's not only organic things, it's like the whatever material they use to create the dashboard and the glove compartment in my van. You know, it's like there's these like rainbow flecks all over everything, and my eyes literally see it physically, and I'm like, well, that is clairvoyance.
Yeah.
Like there's so many ways that clairvoyance can come through. It's just, clairvoyance means clear seeing.
Hmm.
And for me, the majority of it does happen in my third eye, in my inner vision, but I've had so many confirmations, validations that what I'm seeing is specifically accurate
Hmm.
to like like I remember I did a reading a long time ago in 2021 for a guy, and that day a dog, he was kind of testing me a little bit in a really nice way, but that day, a random stray dog had shown up on his property, and I don't know if he meant, like, I knew that he was with his dogs, but I described one of them to, like, in great detail, and he was like, "That's the one that just showed up." Like, he was so mind blown, and it reinforced to me like, well, okay, the things that I'm seeing are accurate. They just happen
Yes.
inside in my pineal gland, in my third eye.
Yeah.
But that's clairvoyance too.
Yes. And as we've been talking, like I have this wall behind me, and there's a picture of my grandmother on there, and there's a holiday cactus underneath. And I'm looking at you, but usually what happens for me is peripheral. It's never really like straight on. Straight on, I see like black specks or like colorful flashes. So when I was talking with you for the past, I don't know, hour or so, probably 4 times I saw like a royal blue flash on the wall, and then I've seen like a bunch of stuff moving over here. At one point I even like looked over like, is what is that? But yeah, it just happens sort of like all of the time, and I used to ignore it, but now I'm getting better at like seeing it as it happens and kind of acknowledging it quickly, like just energetically. But I'm still obviously talking to you, but I get a little bit distracted. So sometimes when I'm talking with people, especially when I'm doing readings, I like look all around, like, and I feel like I'm searching the corners of my mind sometimes. Like I don't even know what I'm looking at, you know. But yeah, uh You have really helped me to understand the levels of, and that's just clairvoyance. We're not even talking about all the other ones because I think clairsentience is one of the, or claircognizance and clairsentience are like my strongest. But you know what's funny about that? I was so used to ignoring my body and feelings that I was so disconnected. There's no like, I, it took such a long time for me to set like a body map. It's sort of like you can ask your guides, like, when this type of information comes in, this is how I want it to feel. And then I'll know that that's what you're trying to express, or, you know, like it's kind of like a code. Um, but things just sort of started happening on their own. Like I didn't really even set a map at this point, but I'm still working on like getting fully in my body. Like after being traumatized for such a long time and going through so much stressful stuff and also being bilocated, like all the things, like I'm getting into my body now and I'm like starting to feel safer and safer and receiving information in those ways. So, but it has been you and the support in the groups and the group calls that we would have with other people, having practice sessions really helped to solidify that in myself, to just trust my gut, because most of the information that I receive, it's like that, whatever the gene keys or the human design, I forget what, I guess it's human design, but it's that thing that just goes from my crown to my throat and it just like just comes out and I don't even know what I said half the time, but like
Yeah.
I'm usually not wrong. So I just, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the practice sessions for that reason too. It's just like until you practice, and then especially when you're willing to like move past that little edge of vulnerability to practice with other people, which means in front of other people, then it's hard to actually get the feedback that really reinforces and validates like, oh, this is real, this is here.
Mhm.
And again, like, I mean, I obviously think that this is deliberately done by the false matrix, but even if, you know, if that's a little far-fetched for anybody, um, we can at least acknowledge that the English language and our general Western society in which we've all been immersively raised, or many of us anyway, I'm making an assumption obviously, but in Western society, in this culture, in this language, psychic experiences, intuitive experiences, spiritual experiences are not prioritized, and they're not considered valid. So even though there's like obviously religion, it's sort of like, it's almost like, here, you get this thing, it falls under religion and spirituality, and like we don't get it, so like here it is. But otherwise, you know, we just don't have any language to agreed upon language to talk about it, to describe it, and we don't have any opportunity to practice it in our practical day-to-day lives. We're
Yeah.
changing that ourselves, but like we
Yeah.
weren't given that. It was never prioritized in our education, going back to what you said about your daughter and
Yeah.
prioritizing her, just her dream experience, and setting up her nighttime to enter the dreamscape safely and with like intention, and to explore what that might be, and then to process it the next morning. Like, what a gift you're giving her, Christine, because we didn't get that. That's treated like it's not even a thing, but actually you
Yeah.
have to go to work and do like these, you know, stupid tasks as a part of a cog in the wheel. That's what's emphasized. So practicing with each other is sort of how we regain, like, these abilities are already within us. Like, that's my big thing. I want everybody to know nobody's a muggle.
Yeah.
Nobody's a muggle. Everybody has psychic abilities. We're born with it. That's our primary language. That's how newborns communicate. I used to be a
Yeah.
midwife. Like, that is how newborns communicate. They're
Yeah.
super psychically sensitive. They do not have language. Everything is a psychic communication. We never lose that. It doesn't just disappear. It just gets deprioritized and shifted to the back. And we're just practicing bringing it forward, and doing
Hmm.
it with other people is so, I just feel like it's necessary. I do. I feel like it's necessary, because otherwise you just
Absolutely.
wonder forever if it's just your imagination. You're just making it up.
Just like me. And it's so funny. I was saying this the other day, like the and I'm sure this is true for many people, not just myself, because this is pretty much the way humans operate. But like along the lines of what we do for our business is like the most important thing that I want for myself. Like it's like that's what
Mhm.
I need the most is past life regression and Akashic readings, like for therapy wise. So that's why I'm like doing it, So it's just obviously you're attracted to what you need the most. And I just like totally got blanked out. But I'm so glad that you were talking about the language portion of it. That's exactly what I was thinking last night as I was falling asleep. It's like I just couldn't even express myself. And I didn't have the knowledge that like I still don't have knowledge. I assume that I know nothing. Like the other day I had a recording with a woman who has been doing energy healing since she was 13 and she's in her 70s now. She has over 50 years of experience, right? And doing this type of work. So she's telling me things and I'm listening to her and I'm like, yes, yes, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Some of the things I knew, but I was in a mode, like a mental mode that I put myself in when I know that someone has like a huge amount of experience. I automatically know nothing. Even if I think I know nothing because I want to hear what they have to say from their perspective. So, like, she's telling me things like, oh, you can set hours and say, I don't want these psychic downloads here, there, and everywhere. I want them at this specific time, which I know. But I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. It's funny because I never know what she's going to say next. It could be something I don't know. So I appreciate it. Uh, the ability to, it's very freeing to realize that we actually don't know anything and to be open to alternative possibilities because I think there's endless opportunities for potential. And the way that I see, quote, God is like gas in the universe and it's like purple cloud and it's love. It's just love energy. Like there is endless potential. It never ceases. It will always exist. And like that is what creation comes from. And like that's how I see God personally. But yeah, I feel very good about it. Like when before we were talking about things going on and how we're feeling, I feel hopeful. I
Mhm.
feel hopeful for changes that have been coming for a long time, that have been needed for a long time. And I feel like it's going to initiate action in a lot of people to like step up and actually be like, okay, I'm going to do this now. I'm excited for this year.
Yeah, me too. I feel very hopeful and I feel like I got a little bit criticized for that the other day, but then I walked away from it being like, no, I'm like I'm here to bring through the message that like there is a different reality. There is something and it's right here for us. Like we just have to choose it
Mm-hmm.
and it comes into manifestation through us. And just like what I'm experiencing right now, like, sure, I can get totally taken down by it. It's really hard. It's not fun. This is not a fun
Yeah.
season in my life, but there's so
Yeah.
much beauty here. And also, this is for my freedom. Like, I can feel that this is somewhere that my consciousness has been wrapped up in a really big knot, and it's taking a lot of patience to unravel that knot. But it's
Yeah.
all that's the price to pay to regain all that access to my power and my creatorship, which
Yes.
with which I am then able to create the 5D, from that realization of our power. And I just feel like on a collective level and on all the individual levels, that's what's being made available to us. And I believe that enough people are able to recognize that right now and take the opportunity that the balance is already tipped in our favor. Like if
Yes.
everybody's not able to do it, that's okay. We don't,
Yes.
there's enough of us.
I also, something that's been like clearing for me, patterns and different things that are playing out. It's like having stayed small on purpose
Mm,
because the people around me are triggered. I just trigger people a lot. I think that's part of what I'm supposed to do. I always have, and I'm getting more and more comfortable with it because people's reactions are really not my problem. Like
Totally.
people's reactions to me just existing, it's not my problem. And I used to take it really personally, but like lately things have been coming up where there was someone in my life that I was really close with and that I put quite a bit of energy into supporting them and encouraging them. Um, and they did not do the same. And not only that, but multiple people that I've worked with for energy healing purposes have been telling me that, like, to this moment, they send me daggers. Like, they want to take me down. They wish they could be me, but not me in the picture with them. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's sad to hear that because it's like, again, not being able to conceptualize having those, like, being that way, but then having to like deal with that being done to me, it's been hard. And I mean, I kind of feel like an asshole wording it that way, like I'm some kind of angel. I'm definitely not, but it's just I wouldn't do that. Like I wouldn't be fake to someone and then like kind of prey on their downfall and like pretend to be their friend. Like that's fucking weird. And I'm sad that that like would be in my life. But again, it's coming up to be seen, to be released, to be ended, to be shifted. And I think similarly to that, I think when that type of thing can be released, what my hope would be is that person and many other people who have this kind of envious, comparative energy then become fully embodied in themselves
Mhm.
and stop wasting energy that way because it's just an ultimate fucking waste to do that instead of putting it back into yourself and becoming the best version of you. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. But like I know that by unfurling, disconnecting, recalibrating, things get aligned in a different way. And I see that that is going to be the next step. So that will be beneficial for everyone when we can all like let go of those pretenses and comparisons and guilt and judgment and shame and all the things. I know that's
Totally.
like a big ask. That's a big ask, but
But I think it's
I'm,
happening. I
yeah, I do
do.
too.
It's like one person at a time, one relationship at a time, one scenario at a time. It's happening where we're shifting, yeah, out of basically like a finite resource perception of competition, like where
Hmm.
we're competing with each other for finite resources, including like love, which
Yeah,
is so
it's just
wild,
not
right?
true. Yeah,
And we're shifting person by person into like collaboration and co-creation where we understand like, oh, none of it's finite. It's actually infinite. And the more there, the more, the more. Do you know what I mean?
yes,
Like the more,
exactly.
the more, the more, the more. And so the more we come together and give our attention to the infinite nature of these resources with the understanding that like each other's existence is not a threat
Yeah,
to like the other. And so then we can like co-create together. It just amplifies, it becomes exponentially more, and it's so exciting.
absolutely. You have always had that mindset and that attitude and behavior of like just wanting to grow and have more of the more of the more instead of, gatekeeping or things like that. Like it's always been about sharing and expanding and growing, connecting. So that's, I just love you for that. Yeah.
Thank you for that reflection. That really,
Yes.
it's those little, that's the projector gift. It's like those little things that projectors see about you that you're like, oh, somebody sees me.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You're like a beacon. You're like a lighthouse. Yes. Yes. I'm not the only one. Many people see you. And that's such a gift for you to embody as the speaker, like you've described, having the ability to put into words. And though you might feel like it's a struggle, it, it's received. It makes sense. It always does. Sometimes you'll be like, I'm not sure if this is making sense. And I know I'm not supposed to apologize for it anymore, but yeah, it's very,
You guys keep messaging me and being like, don't you dare apologize anymore. Like, we love your rambles. Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm still self-conscious about it.
No, there's gold in there for us to hear. And I love that it's just like an open door. And your soul space on Facebook, that's free, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
I love,
awesome.
and that's what, back to what you said about the connections being made in the groups. I know not everybody, like, I don't want people to sign up for groups that they don't like, paid groups that isn't a total yes to them. Like, it's important that we sign up for the things that really truly resonate and our soul is like, yes, this is the next step. But also, not everybody always has the funds to put towards it. Like myself right now, for example, I just don't have the funds to sign up for the things that I would love to. And so having a free, like just a permanently free space where people can nonetheless come and connect, I think is because the more, like the more we connect with each other, the better it gets.
Yes, I totally agree. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your time today, Amy. I really appreciate it. We'll definitely have to get together again. And if you have listened to each episode of this podcast, you probably heard me mention her name at least one time. So it's so funny because I'll either have a guest on that we're connected or just talking about what I've learned or, things that I think and different examples. And I always bring you up. So I appreciate being able to name drop. Yeah.
Oh, well, I am so honored that you invited me on your podcast. And I'm so glad that you're doing this. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the inspiration to get it started. You really helped me to say that's something, if you feel called to do, you just start slowly, you'll get it done. It'll just kind of take care of itself. And it's wild. I feel like I have like 15 episodes already recorded. And I just feel like I need to start releasing more than one per week because like I can't sit on this big of an egg. Like I just can't and that's not even solo episodes. Like I need to like do current, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just do like, extra episodes will be whenever I feel like doing a solo conversation. Maybe that's what I'll do. We'll see. Things might change.
The beauty of a podcast is you can do it however you want. There's no rules.
Yeah.
Just put it out.
Yep. Same with the life. You can do whatever you want. There's no rules.
That's so true. You're like, same with everything, Amy.
Well, to a certain extent. Yeah. It's fun. I always love talking with you. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll be in touch again soon. And I know that any stresses and strains will shift very quickly. I feel like in the next 3 weeks, you'll have totally different circumstances to be landing into. It's going to get resolved very quickly, I think.
I know it'll get resolved and it'll take the time it takes. And I'm just like, I'm surrendered to it. Yeah. I'm here for the alchemy.
Yeah. You'll see like the beginnings of it soon though. That's what I'm going to start like praying for. Yeah.
Christine.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for taking the time to be in our experience. I love this conversation with Amy because it speaks to so many things I know many of us are feeling right now. Intensity, change, uncertainty, spiritual expansion, grief, pressure, and also a deep invitation to trust ourselves more fully. One of the biggest takeaways for me is even when life feels chaotic, overwhelming, or like everything is being stripped down, there is still a point of power available in every moment. We may not always control the outer circumstances, but we do have a choice in how we meet them, what we choose to feed, and what we create within ourselves. I also really appreciate Amy's reminder that psychic ability, intuition, and awareness are not reserved for a special few. These are natural parts of being a human. And many of us are simply remembering what was deprioritized, dismissed, or never given language for in the first place. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this conversation reminded you that even in intense seasons, there is still power in choosing love, choosing compassion, discernment, and trust. Those are our options. There's so much happening in the collective right now, but we do not have to feed fear in order to be aware. You can find Amy on Instagram at cosmic.oracle and also on her website, amybelair.com. You can find me at digintoconsulting.com or on Instagram at Recent Healing. We're both in it to win it and ready to commit as our business, as you heard in this episode. So whenever you guys are ready to commit, we're here for you, ready and available to dig into your Akashic records and start expanding our consciousness together and weaving to higher frequencies. If you feel called, please rate, share, review, expand the experience for others. I would love to hear from you as well. If you can leave a review and comments about what you would like to hear, I would love to see them. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.